Hi, folks. It's Myron from the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. Welcome you to the second episode of Shoots Fired, the best live to tape interview show in all of independent wrestling. Tonight, I am joined by Mr. Gary Lamb from Southern Honor Wrestling, the man who has cut the widest swath through Georgia wrestling in a long time. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Well, I was doing good till I found out this is the second show, which means I didn't make the first show.
Well, I had commitments. Okay, I apologize. I had commitments. I do some exclusive work with JB Enterprises, and they are probably the dominant heel faction in Georgia today. But you put on a hell of a show.
We had a great time, man. We had a great time. It exceeded our expectations. Thousands of things we would do better, but overall, man, we were very pleased.
You drew a ton of people.
We drew a ton of people from all over. I mean, as far away as Huntsville, Birmingham, south of Macon. We were blown away by the crowds who came from all over.
Check the passports with all those people from south of Macon, I hope.
Exactly.
Wow, that's incredible. And you had Mr. Dallas Page there.
We did. He just showed up. Believe it or not, we had no clue if he was coming or not. He had dropped some hints that he might drop in on us. Showed up backstage. We had no clue he was going to go out. Right before the main event, he said, "Give me the mic," and he went out.
How do you not give him the mic in that situation?
Exactly. We luckily, in the ability to hope that he was coming, we had made a promo video for him. We had a promo video for about 5 different guys. And we didn't know if any of them would show up. We hadn't invited any of them. We just knew they had taken an interest in what we were doing. And he showed up in the crowd was insane all night long. But when he came out, you could have blown the roof off the place.
Yes, I had some wrestling insiders there, and I asked them for feedback just off the record, and
told
me that it was everything it was made out to be.
I'm glad to hear that. We did have some production glitches, but we'll get them fixed. And really, they were just miscues. We haven't mastered the art of communicating from the backstage to the production area, and that will be fixed by the next time, and everything will be great.
My son had not known any of our previous conversations. He did not know all of the work we did together at the Superstars Fan Fest. And he comes to me yesterday and shows me these videos of this promotion where, look at AC Mack and the Smoke Machine. Look at this. Look at all this great promotion. And I said, yeah, I've been talking to this guy.
I'm glad to hear that.
This is somebody who just was watching this on Instagram. That's the only social media he has.
Really?
And picked it up and found enough posts, just aggregate all over Atlanta wrestling, that he was wanted to come to his father or father figure and show him what's going on.
That's incredible. That made my night right there. That means we're doing something right.
That's somebody who didn't even know what was going on. He goes, look at this. And there's AC Mack and there's Alan Angels. And, you know, Alan Angels he's in Baltimore for a Ring of Honor tryout. And
he postponed. He was supposed to fly out Friday. He postponed it for our show and flew out early Saturday morning. That's commitment.
Yes. How about the amount of talent you had on that show?
The talent blew us away. I had seen every one of them, with the exception of a guy we had named Sean Legacy. I hadn't seen anything of him, and we just heard he had come highly recommended. I didn't get to watch much of the show. I was busy, but I was blown away. And the people in attendance, and I'm not just saying this. I mean, this is Gary Lamb talking. I mean, just regular guy talking. People were blown away by the show. I mean, people left there literally telling us, we had one person tell us, best show I've seen since I went and saw WrestleMania live. I mean, that's a pretty big compliment. We had a lot of people say production quality was better than Ring of Honor. I'm not saying it was. I'm saying that at least let me know we hit our target.
That's exactly what you want. I mean, better than WrestleMania, the most expensive show ever produced yearly. The guy got a pop from that. You must have touched the audience, because I heard the audience was so into the show and they were super loud.
The audience, when I tell you, We had an hour-long video. So the doors opened up at 7 o'clock, and from 7 to 8, it was music and all the promos and all the videos you had seen online were just running on the screens. The lights were pumping. And at 5 minutes out, we had a 5-minute countdown timer come on. We got in the stage, and we hyped that crowd up. They were ready to charge hell with a water gun. And when the countdown timer hit 0, Dylan made a 45-second commercial, and we went, yeah, you're talking my love language right now. We went right into AC Mack and Jordan Kingsley, and they didn't stop. They didn't stop. We had one intermission, and it was funny. I was backstage standing next to Dallas, and Dallas said, you might have just made a mistake. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I would have never taken an intermission. This crowd was too hot. You'll never get them back. And, man, that got me panicked. I mean, that's a guy that knows what he's talking about.
I mean, even before he was a wrestler, he was driving the cars.
Yes.
Stage with wrestlers in them. This is a guy who's been in the business even before he was in the business.
Yeah, and when he said we might have made a mistake, and when I tell you the Lynch Mob and the Jungle Kings took the ring, and within 60 seconds the crowd was right back, and he looked at me and said, wow.
Awesome capture. The Sean Legacy guy, I actually was talking to a friend of mine in Alabama who is a referee, and he's like, have you seen this Sean Legacy guy? You have to see this Sean Legacy guy. And I've not seen the guy.
Well, he'll be at our next show. We booked him on the spot again for next month.
That will be the time I've seen him. I have worked out a deal to get me there onto the next show. I can't wait for it. Smoke machines, fog, lighting, videos. How do you prepare all this for a show?
You don't sleep. And we're lucky, and I've said this over and over and over. We're lucky. It's my building. I know the building. I know the equipment. I have the volunteers or the staff in some positions that run it for every event I do. So that was a fairly easy aspect. And then you add Dylan to the mix and Nathan to the mix from Kind Punk. So they're putting out quality videos and production. We have the equipment to run it. Believe it or not, that was probably the easiest aspect because, again, I run shows out of that building, non-wrestling shows. I run, as you know, I'm a pastor. I run a church service out of there that compares to any rock and roll concert you've ever been to. So we run the hazers. We run the intelligent lights. We run all the LED lights. We run the sound system. I mean, there's probably $100,000 worth of lights and sound in that building. And so we're lucky. We're arrogant and we're cocky, but we also know we're really blessed to have a permanent building that has that kind of setup.
That's amazing to be able to get that because there's only one or two places in Georgia that I know of that can run the same building repeatedly. And there's very few places that can run it every time.
Right.
Do their own thing in that building. You've got festivals upcoming in that building and festivals upcoming there in Canton, don't you?
Yeah, I have a festival this Saturday in Woodstock called Cadence Fair. It's a big celebration of Reformation Brewery. I don't know if you're a craft beer guy, but Reformation Brewery is one of the biggest craft breweries in Georgia, fastest growing, and we have a unique partnership with them. So we do that in downtown Woodstock this weekend. 2 weeks later, I have a festival in downtown Canton called Barbecue, Brews, and Booze, BOOS, a big, huge Halloween festival. And then 6 days after that, we have our second show.
Craft beer gives me diarrhea.
Yeah, I'm not a huge craft beer person either, and I think that's why I can put on craft beer festivals because it's easy for me to stay sober.
You can stay sober the whole day.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have trouble. I'm a cheap American beer type guy.
Yeah, I am too. I understand that, but yeah, the month of October is insane for me.
I can imagine because October is the best month of the year in my opinion.
It is a great month.
I am a Libra. I was born on the 18th. I love it. It's the weather starts getting decent for the first time, and you enjoy it. It's the fall comes. You've got wrestling, 2 festivals, and the November 2nd show.
November 2nd. We're excited. We have an incredible lineup for November 2nd.
How do you draw after you went out there and blew your wad on the first massive show?
I think we did blow our wad, but we delivered. And so I think that I think the thing that excited me the most was, if I had to guess, and I didn't obviously run stats, but I went around all night talking to people. I would say less than 50% of the crowd was local. We had high school football. We had our city does a big event called First Friday. It was the last First Friday of the year, and it was Jeep night, which Jeep and wrestling is kind of the same crowd. It was 2 blocks away. So, and also we have probably one of the top 10 haunted houses in the Southeast in our city, and it was their premiere opening night. So, yeah, so it was which is very rare in Canton, but it was a very busy Canton night. And so I believe taking that away will add the local element, and I believe it was I haven't been to a lot of independent shows like you have, but I've been to several, and it very much seemed like, for the most part, the shows that I go to are a local crowd.
Definitely.
This was not a local crowd. It was an independent wrestling crowd. It was Bullet Club shirts. It was Cody Rhodes shirts. It was Villain Club shirts. It was New Japan shirts. So we drew the independent wrestling crowd. Now we've got I think we'll continue to draw them. I mean, our tickets went on sale yesterday, and I believe first row might have 5 tickets left, and it's sold out. The first row is. Now if we can figure out how to tap into the local crowd along with the independent wrestling crowd, I think that we'll catch lightning in a bottle. We probably had at 7 o'clock when we opened the doors, I'm willing to bet there was 80 people in line.
Right at the time you opened the doors?
Oh, no, they started getting there about 5:30.
You had a line at 5:30.
At 5:30, the first 5 people were in line. By 7 o'clock, the line was 80 deep.
Yeah, nobody does that an hour before showtime. I mean, your average independent wrestling crowd shows up within the last 15 minutes to the first 15 minutes of the show starting.
Yeah. It was crazy, and we did have a lot of people show up late. Traffic. I mean, we had some of the wrestlers. Friday night is tough in North Georgia because these guys got their shoot jobs, and I mean, we were stressing over that. We were getting phone calls about how bad traffic was, but everybody made it.
That's awesome. A Friday night, I think, is a really good time to run. I know high school football is in we're midway to halfway or past the season. Things are going good, but you don't interfere with any other wrestling shows.
We don't, and you get the rest of the weekend off, and I like that.
Because you got to work on Sunday.
That's about an hour a day.
Well, it's an hour a day, but
so
I know you prepare endlessly for those.
Yeah, it's I'm real good friends with Rich Wardafazzi, and he said something one time that struck me. He goes, people will ask me how much we charge to come play, and I say, we play for free. It's all the work we do to lead up to playing that we charge for. That's the way I feel. Sunday morning I do for free. All the rest of the work I do all week, going to crack houses and putting sermons together and being there. I did a wedding tonight. That's why I'm all dudded up right now. And that's why I let them pay me.
Crack houses.
So, I pastor an interesting church. It's got a large homeless population, a large addiction. We have an addiction meeting, an AA or NA meeting that's in our building 4 to 5 nights a week. It's a unique place. You'll see it when you get here. Matter of fact, on Friday nights, we have a AA meeting that probably runs about 120 people. So they were meeting on the other side of the building while we were having wrestling on this side of the building.
Yeah, I knew this guy that had a similar message, and it was about 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, we try to follow his teachings and nothing else.
Well, that's the hard part about religion. And I'm an atheist. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I understand the Bible. I understand the teachings of Jesus.
Right.
And I think the main fault most people get into with religion is they don't follow them word for word.
Yeah. I hate religion, and I'm not very religious. As you've hung around me, you know that.
Religion.
But I dig Jesus, and I dig his teachings.
He was a great guy. I'm not gonna deny that in any context.
Yeah. And I would say, a unique thing about the church I pastor is probably about 10% of our group is atheist. And they come, though, because they feel like regardless of whether they believe there's a God, they believe it's practical teaching that they can apply to their everyday life. And they enjoy that. And we're not shoved Jesus. I'm not a shove Jesus down your throat guy. I'm like, let me give you some practical ways to live a better life on earth.
That's the best way you can do things.
Yeah.
That's the way you can do things. So I grew up in a fundamental household in Alabama in the 1980s, and you can only imagine what.
Of course.
I like what you're doing. I feel you've got a great message in and outside the ring. But wrestling fans want to know, what do you do? What are you going to do to wrestling in Georgia? Where's your end game?
We're going to change the game, and I keep saying that. One thing you'll learn about me is I'm not a gimmick guy. I'm not a character guy, and that was a big deal when our bookers were like, "I'm going to be the general manager. Are you a heel or are you a bait?" I said, "I'm me." And so what you see me doing in videos is just me, and we're going to change the game. I mean, we believe we have the potential to very quickly become one of the top, I want to say 5, but I think more realistic, one of the top 10 promotions in America. And that's our goal. Our goal is to put on something we love. Everything I do is about creating moments. I think the real world sucks, and I think working and the stress of life. So whether it's my festivals or whether it's Sunday morning and what I do, whether it's wrestling, I just want to give people an hour and a half, 2.5 hour escape where they can come, not have the stress of life, and enjoy it. And that's what wrestling did. You should have seen the show Friday. These people for 2.5 hours got to forget about the fact that the rent was due and the electric bill was due and that their kids were being crazy and that life just sucks sometimes. And I like to say they were able to get their redneck on. It was so much fun. The crowd was insane. And so that's just kind of what we want to do. We want to change the game. We want to create something. And we're all very creative people. So I think it's a creative outlet for us. We enjoy doing it. I think these athletes, you mentioned some, AC Mack, Kingsley, Allen Angels, these guys are insanely talented. And they deserve to be part of a promotion that wants to take an interest in making sure that everything outside the ring is as good as what they're doing inside the ring. And they saw that this week. I mean, we had guys showing up that are on future shows that we hadn't even paid or asked to come, and they were coming, and that's why we were able to do run-ins with Logan Creed. That's why we were able to have the greatest showman, Dak Anthony, come out on stage and hype his next career, because they were so effing excited about what we were doing. They just wanted to be at the show. There was probably 15 other wrestlers backstage just hanging out. Some of them told us they canceled bookings just to be at this first show, even though they weren't on the card.
That's impressive. That's impressive, because if they cancel the booking, that means they canceled money.
Right.
To come to your show to look at more money.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that right there, wrestlers are very serious about getting the dates and getting things down on calendars. And if they miss something to come work with you, they've got to see money in their future.
Logan Creed. Do you know Logan?
I know Logan. I know who he is. I've seen him on dozens of shows. I've shaken his hand before. I've said hi to him. I don't think he would recognize me in a police lineup. But
3.5 hours for a show that he wasn't on the card, just because he wanted to do a run-in to set up his November 2nd appearance.
It's a big deal, because I mean,
he's a huge deal.
He's a big deal in Georgia. I know Larry Goodman puts him over. I know everybody that deals with him thinks he's a pretty good guy. And his wife is involved in the business. She's a wrestler. She's pregnant right now, if I'm not mistaken. But she's an indomitable baby face, and people love her. They're good people that people identify with. And that's
a monster. He grabbed me. I allowed my fandom to take over for a second, and I knew we were setting up a certain scene, and I wanted to see the scene, so I walked out into the crowd, not thinking that people were going to be like, wait a minute, the general manager's out here in the crowd.
Yeah.
And when the crowd saw me, and it was insane. They were chanting, "Stop it, Gary, stop it," wanting me to stop what was about to happen.
Oh,
So I was like, shit, I blew this whole angle. Like, I shouldn't be out here. So I had to step up. And luckily for me, Logan kind of read what was going on, grabbed me by the neck, and we kind of played it off. I'm 6 foot tall, and I came to his chest.
yes,
he's a monster.
Built all the way up though. Not
yes.
a basketball type guy. He's big, he's broad, very muscular developed. He's intimidating. I've seen him work with a lot of guys where he was clearly the much bigger athlete.
Yes.
He's a defining figure. One of the biggest guys in Georgia wrestling.
Yeah, we partnered. We had him come in and do a run-in the Sunny Days Kevin Ryan match. And what was cool about that is right before that match, we had shown a promo video that he was going to be there next month. So no one expected him to come out. So the lights went out. The entire arena went black. The lights come on. He's standing out there as Kevin Ryan's on the top rope about to jump on Sunny Days. Kevin Ryan jumps off the rope outside the ring on him, and Logan just catches him midair and choke slam.
I've probably seen him in at least 4 different promotions in the same way. He is so over and everywhere he goes.
Yeah, the crowd went nuts. And then we have a stack of subs. Once they climbed up there with Kevin Ryan and put him through a table off the subs, the crowd was insane.
Nice.
It was a good time.
I can imagine. So you have top-notch talent, top-notch production. Everybody in the crowd gets the same view. I can imagine you've got people beating down your doors to get on these shows.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I haven't learned how to navigate that yet. We have and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I'm probably getting 50 emails a week from athletes. I've probably got 100 since Friday, literally. And I told you this on my first podcast with you, so I guess I'll stick with it and not back down. We're not just going to book anybody. And so I get that some organizations that do that, and I get that that's the beauty of independent wrestling, is that a guy who looks like he should never be in the ring gets to go in the ring. But that's definitely not our vision. I think I told you, if I can whoop their ass, or if I look like I can whoop their ass, I don't want them in the ring.
Well, I mean, you got yourself set up in the perfect situation where your dark match would be better than most shows' main event.
I think so. There was not a bad, and I'm not just saying this, there wasn't a bad match the other day. And, on our second show, we've got Logan Creed. We've got Austin Theory on the show. We've got Shannon Moore on the show, along with most of the guys that we had on the first show. So, I mean, it's going to be great. We do got to lower the bar a little bit, I think. And I say that, I don't know. I mean, we don't want to build our roster. We don't want to build our shows on guys who used to be over. We need to develop our own characters, our own gimmicks. And so that's definitely the balancing act right now. It was cool to have Raven there. We don't have we have Shannon Moore. We don't have a legend, I guess you could say, coming for this show. We do have something brewing for December that might be a good fit. We're just very connected. The good thing about Dallas is I'm also good friends with Jerry. I don't think it's a secret. We know Jericho. And
yeah.
So,
he did a hype video for you. I mean,
hype video. Well, yeah. And so did Dallas. So now that Dallas showed up, Jericho sends me a message like, great show. I said, Dallas showed up. I said, you need to one-up him now. So I'm just planting those seeds.
So you get Chris Jericho in a one-up thing, and I'm even scared to be there because it's going to be nuclear.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever happened, but he's in our building all the time. I mean, our building is kind of the home of Fozzy. I mean, that's where they store their equipment. It's where they practice. It's where they film their last 3 videos. So I just need the stars to align on when they're in our building, we have a show at the same time.
It's quite insane, all these connections you've got. I mean,
I tell people all the time, I've done a lot of business in my life, and I've been very blessed, but I've never done anything where just so many doors have opened and the stars have aligned. Even meeting you guys. I mean, like, we met and it was instant chemistry. I mean, it just seems to be the right people in this industry at the right time coming along. And it goes back to what I said a minute ago. I think people in this state were hungry for something that was maybe a notch above what was already out there. Not that there was anything wrong with what was out there, but maybe just a notch above in the production and quality. And I think that we definitely filled that niche. In our first show, we filled that niche.
How about the fact you went to high school with the guy who is already killing the east side of Georgia, David Manders?
Well, it's a weird, a lot of connections.
I've always been a Southern Fried guy. That side of Atlanta, the side I'm on, he has got that sewn up.
That's what you said, and it looks like I've got to get out to one of his shows.
They're becoming a dominant show on this side, and you're on the other side. And there's some guys, man. If y'all did business, y'all could just like get on either side of Atlanta and go like, dun, dun, like Godzilla and stuff. And it would be insane.
I could definitely see it again, man. Southern Fried's been around, so we're the new kids on the block. We've done one show, but I could definitely see down the road, if the right connections happen, I'd love to do some invasion angles, some different things. And it looks like we're using different rosters, I think, because we are so far away from each other.
There's a few guys that show up on a regular basis in Southern Fried that are on your roster. There's guys that have been there that are back. They got Josie Quinn next time.
Oh, yeah. And I'm a big fan of his. And you were at Superstars, and you saw me in my recruitment of QT Hard.
Yes, QT Marshall, I think by far he has established himself as the dominant school in Georgia.
Yeah, I got to be careful because we have a lot of guys coming from another school in Atlanta that I'm very impressed with. But QT, if you want to talk wrestling, if you want to talk the business of wrestling, to me, he's like drinking from a fire hydrant.
Yes. I sat at his feet and learned faster. And I don't even wrestle. I mean, I just like talk about wrestling.
Yeah, we've hit it off. He's got a lot of loyalties to another promotion here locally, and I respect the hell out of that.
Well, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't leave them, and you wouldn't respect him if he left them.
I wouldn't. So I guess I'm just going to have to put him out of business, and then it won't be him not being loyal anymore.
Oh.
There's a reason our next show is called City Takeover, and they have a show the next night. So we'll just leave that at that.
Y'all might like take all the ticket money in the city of Canton in one night.
It might be a fun. It's going to be a fun weekend. November 2nd at the Action Building, and then November 3rd. So it'll be a fun night, fun weekend.
I'd love to be. I've seen the card. I've seen some people. You've got definitely an amazing amount of talent coming in. Are we going to be able to see the show you ran Friday night anywhere? Is it going to be on the internet or?
That is the plan. We went full production. We filmed the whole thing. Kind Punk Films was there. They're going to be at every show. Our plan, we might have bit off more than we can chew, but our plan is every Wednesday to release a 30-minute television show on Facebook and YouTube. So basically over the course of a month between every show, you'll get to see every match from the previous show. So 3 episodes where you see the previous matches, and a 4th episode the week before the next show. That's kind of a recap. That might have been a little ambitious. We'll see this week when we start editing and start slicing and start trying to line up different shots and different commentary and all the stuff that goes into that. But they're definitely, at a minimum, there will be a 30-minute highlight show in between the shows. So that is a 100% definite.
That's amazing that you're going to put out a highlight video and get that to go on like that, where people who have not bought a ticket can see, people who bought a ticket and want to come back can get warmed up to buy a ticket for the next show. You draw in people, you keep your people loyal. That's the best way to do a business.
I think so. I'm big on creating just a raving fan base. And I mean, if your fans get behind you, they do the work for you. And I want to be honest, but I want to be careful too. Like I haven't personally seen another wrestling promotion and I'm not just talking about in Georgia, I'm talking about anywhere where like our fan base on social media sharing our stuff and spreading the word has been insane. Every post is 50, 60 shares, and people are getting hooked in. And, you know, we made sure that we brought in video. We made sure we brought in professional photographers because pictures tell a story.
Troy Tatum, to me, is the best wrestling photographer in Georgia.
We've got him booked for the next show. He was phenomenal.
And a nice guy. A really solid, nice guy.
Super nice guy. And got some, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the pictures yet.
I have not got to see him yet. I have worked all weekend long. I managed to get to Southern Fried last night after we were an hour and a half late, and I got there during intermission, so I only got to see the second half of the show. So I'm wrestling starved for the weekend. That's the one of the things about working weekends. Some things you just can't get around.
I hate those real jobs.
Yes, I'm working on getting rid of this real job. That's my goal. It might be 20 more years before I'm done with it, but you know, it's a plan.
That's all you got to work the plan, and the plan will work.
The plan I've had yet. So I look forward to being able to go to wrestling and watch football every weekend.
Yeah.
I like the fact you run on Fridays. Now my North Gwinnett Bulldogs are once again in the hunt, but y'all will be so far down the road. By the time we get to the next show, I won't be able to do anything. I like to cook at the ball games. That's my personal thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm a hamburger flipper. I like to, if I'm off on a Friday, I like to go and flip hamburgers at the concession stand. But that's not going to interfere because I'm taking a day off. I'm swapping some stuff. I'm going to get up to the show in November. What can I expect when I show up at your show?
I think that you can expect to be blown away. Compared, especially from a production standpoint, from what is happening in independent wrestling locally. And again, that's not because they're not able to, it's just because of our building situation. I've seen Southern Fried, who the crowds are amazing and the matches are amazing, but at the end of the day, they're in a high school gym. And so when you come into our building and from the moment you walk in and there's the lights already going and the bass is already kicking and the video screens are already showing you highlights about what happened and the buzz that's going on, you walk into the building with a sense of expectancy, expecting something amazing to happen. You're going to see phenomenal matches. I think you're going to see some phenomenal storylines that hopefully we're able to, because of our video from the first show, you're going to understand at the second show. You're going to be blown away by the talent. But I think more than anything, this is what blew me away was the crowd. And I'm not talking about the numbers. I'm talking about the sheer insanity of the crowd. They never shut up all night long.
I had a friend who he's been in the Georgia wrestling business probably longer than I've been alive. And I have ran into him at shows from Carrollton to Cornelia to McDonough. And I show up and that guy's there. And so I sent him a message because he posted on. I sent him a message. I said, "Hey, was this okay? Was this a real deal?" And he goes, "Yeah, it was there. He did it. It was a performance. Everything top to bottom was top notch."
I'm glad to hear that.
I do my research. Okay. I get in and I like to find out. I'm no Larry Goodman, but I try.
Right.
You know, and I get in, I want to get in and I want to hear what's going on. And if I can't get there, I want to find out what's going on all over the state of Georgia in wrestling. And no one was dissatisfied with what you did.
I'm glad to hear that.
If there was a bad word, I would have heard it because I am plugged in.
You are definitely plugged in.
Yeah, I try to stay plugged in to lots of things. But I say I show up in your next show an hour before the bell rings. I show up as soon as you open the gates. You got video pumping. I can see what happened on the last show.
Yeah, there's music going to be playing. There's going to be pump. The lights are already off. We never turn the lights on the whole time. So when you walk in, It's immediately, it feels like a rock concert. It's stage lights and LED lights all over the building. The rest of the building's dark. It's lit just enough for you to be able to find your seats. I mean, it feels like a big show. There's 6 huge guys walking around in security shirts. We don't need the security. It just makes it feel big time. Our staff is amazing at getting people seated, helping them understand what's going on. You never know who's going to be walking around. I mean, the doors open, and Rich Ward and the guys from Fozzy are in there loading the tour bus because they're fixing to go catch a plane at 7 o'clock. And it's just kind of a cool thing that you're like, holy shit, that's Rich Ward and Frank and Billy Gray, and those guys are from Fozzy. And
Rich Ward,
yeah,
North graduate.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
My current soulmate, North Gwinnett graduates. Both my kids are at North Gwinnett. Rich, if you're hearing this, go Dogs.
Yeah, I think you're going to walk in just knowing that something's going to happen. We have put thought into everything from the time the doors open to the time that people leave. We've put thought into everything. I stood at the exit and I shook every single fan's hand that came to the show, and it kind of lined up, but I didn't care. I wanted to shake that might be the preacher in me. I wanted to shake everybody's hand and thank them personally. I don't take it lightly. They took time out of their Friday night. They spent their hard-earned money when they could have been in 1,000 different places. They chose to come give a group that had never had a show a shot. And man, I appreciate that. So every element has been thought of. And the elements we didn't think of, we saw, and they'll be improved for the second show.
Wow, I mean, I've never been happier to disseminate a message after hearing this.
I can't wait for you to come to our shows. Matter of fact, I'll make sure I'm going to tell me how many tickets you need, send me a message, and I'll make sure you have front row seats. I'm excited about it.
No, we're not front row seat people. We're general admission people.
Oh, well, I'll make sure you have seats wherever you want to be.
I do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate all the attention you shower upon us.
Oh, man, you guys have made us. You guys have got the word out better than we have.
No. I met you at the Superstar show, and you treated me like I was your oldest friend.
I had a blast hanging out with you, man. I love to talk wrestling. I think that's the thing. I am a businessman, and I love business, but I love wrestling. So to do business with something I love is just fun.
That's been the best thing about this podcast. It's given me the ability to meet people I really like. And it's also given me the ability to meet my heroes. And I found I like most of my heroes from childhood. Wrestling's a great business.
It's a community.
It's the weirdest community there is.
It is, because we talked about this before. There's a lot of unwritten codes, and that's.
But the codes change constantly.
Yeah, and I don't care about them, so it works out really well for me.
You're out there blazing a trail, Pirates of the Caribbean, right through the middle of the wrestling community, and you've done something no one has done in a long time. You dropped the bomb on the first show.
Yeah, I hope that it just gets bigger and better. And we counted 347 people there.
Your first show
Saturday night. Yeah, I want to break 500 the second. I don't know if that's possible, but that's what I want to do.
Well, you have my commitment to do everything I can to bring you to that point.
Man, I appreciate that.
You know, I can do so much. I can talk about it. I can post about it. We'll put it on Facebook, the Twitter, the internet. So I'm not good at Snapchat, but we'll get it on some. I think we'll get it on some of that Pictionary website.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's get that angle going with Southern Fried. I think that could be fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a great place, man. Next show, October 20th for them. Come on out. I'll be there after I get off work. I gotta stop this work thing. This work thing is killing the wrestling business.
Yeah, man. Who wants that?
But thank you, Gary.
Hey, thank you, man, for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for revolutionizing things. I really do appreciate that.
Matt, I appreciate you guys. And let me know, and we'll hook up again real soon, buddy.
Good night.
Good night.